Picking the right niche can be
I
one.
feel like an evil dude.
We're like sitting here in our black shirts.
But, oh yeah, and we're wearing black. But we're picking niches today.
We are picking niches today. It can be a huge hurdle for people to overcome on their first site. And we each have come up with 4 ideas. And we want you to tell us which one you think is best. We'll even build the site. It'll be fun.
Yeah, whichever one you guys pick in the comments as your favorite one will be the very first site that we build. I guess not the first one for 2021. We've already built like 10
The
sites.
first one we start soon.
But the next one we build. Let's go to the first clip.
All right. One of my favorite ideas for 2021 is alternative housing options. Now, any one option like tiny homes or storage container homes could just be a fad. It could go away anytime. But alternative housing, I don't think is going anywhere. Right now, the real estate market is out of control, and a lot of people can't afford traditional housing options. I've got friends even living in hotels temporarily because they can't get a rental. I think you can monetize with ads, affiliate for especially storage-related products. I think you could get loads of traffic. I think an info product could do well. Really, the traffic potential over here, I think, is just enormous.
Yeah, I agree. I think the traffic potential is really good on this one. But I also feel like the competition is extremely high because it's a small subset of keywords that people are looking for. You know, it's how much does a tiny home cost? You know, just small keywords, but massive volume, which is always a recipe for high competition. I feel like the person who wins this niche is the person not with the best written content, but with the best images. Would you agree with that?
I would think the best images. I would also think that like if you can do YouTube on this, I would do it because I think the easiest way and the fastest way to break in is going to be video. But I think that means like getting out of your home or your studio and getting outside and doing
I feel like
stuff.
if I'm going after this seriously, I'm going to want to figure out how I can get an unfair advantage to have access to more tiny homes than everybody else, to have a zillion pictures, because it's like the ideas, the costs, the layouts, that's what's going to get the traffic. And so if you're just random blogger at home and you're hoping to grab a couple stock photos like everybody else, it's a pretty competitive niche.
I absolutely agree. And, you know, other things to be aware of is to watch the trends. Right now we're seeing here, like in Idaho, we're seeing, you know, people being forced out of their rental homes because the owner's selling them because the prices are so dang high and they can't get into a new rental, right? I'm seeing rental scams. People who are charging $150 non-refundable application fee for a house that's not even available. And so it'd be kind of cool.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
It's
a
cool.
Great business model.
That's my next niche.
So I think staying on top of that kind of stuff and providing that information could be cool, but who's searching for that, right? It's more interest content, which is why I think YouTube would be phenomenal for this.
Okay, my first idea is also pandemic related. Let's check that one out.
I think a website about bidets could be awesome. The reason that I think this one would work so well is because the pandemic convinced a ton of people to look past toilet paper. You look on YouTube and you're seeing some reviews of bidets with like 100,000, multiple hundreds of thousands of views, and yet very few people own more than one to review. And so I think it could be a great spot and a big growth area.
I think that's true. There's been a bit of a weirdness around bidets, I think, in the United States for a long time. They're really popular in Europe, and it's been hard to break through, and COVID finally did that for us. Seeing the kind of traffic you're seeing on those reviews, I think, is really cool. But I think the big key to this thing is going to be getting all of those bidets. And the difficulty there is it takes 20 minutes maybe for a normal person to go hook up another bidet.
A normal person, I've got to cut in because I've purchased multiple of them. Every single time I tell my wife, I think I can do this. I think I got it. Watch the YouTube video. 100% of the time I have to hire a handyman to fix the flood I created in the bathroom.
Sorry, I mean a normal person probably spend an hour a piece. No, I mean on average, like once you've done a couple, you probably will get the hang of it.
It's not hard. It's me who's not handy.
The other thing is that some of the best ones require like an electrical outlet and people don't have that in their bathroom. So it's gonna be a little bit of setup, a little bit of an onboarding cost. I think it's totally worth it. I would go buy like every bidet and do this. I think the potential's enormous.
Yeah, but I think the other thing here is whenever you get into a product-centric niche, it's easy to become only the review.
Yes.
And I think there's a huge market of content around the review. You want the review so you can link to it from those other articles, but I think you're going to get most of your traffic from the other stuff.
Yeah. With the crazy real estate market, people are doing a lot more to stay in their homes, remodel, redesign architecture. I think that's a fantastic niche. I think YouTube's a great place for it, but I think you do fine on a blog as well. I think you could get a ton of traffic to this kind of a website. I also think it'd be easy to monetize with ads, do very well with ads. And I think you're gonna get a lot of people perusing that aren't actually doing the work. So ads and low-cost affiliate products are gonna be really good for monetizing. But I also think a great info product for those who are serious is a great way you could earn a great income from this site.
I think it's good. It's maybe more of an industry than even a niche.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's going to help you if you could find an aspect of home renovation. I also feel like this one is very related to the alternative housing in that it's who has the images. You know, with home renovation, it's like, how many awesome before and afters can you show me? If you have many blog posts of, you know, before and after bathroom remodels and stuff, it's great, but how are you gonna get the before and afters?
Yeah. The ideas that I had were super high potential, but it's gonna require like an enormous effort. This is not for the first time blogger that is gonna, you know, kind of like you said before, that's gonna, you know, sit down for an hour a day and is gonna, you know, buy some stock images here and there. You gotta be super serious about this. And so maybe that was kind of what was going through my mind.
But
at
it
the
also
time.
tracks kind of where we're looking.
Exactly.
Not just us as a company, as we're looking to get into more and more competitive niches, but with our new search analysis process that's coming out on May 3rd, we're working really hard. And I think we have a competitive advantage now that we can find which articles are much more likely to have traffic. And so that's going to push us into a little bit more competitive space, but we also are doing really well on answer targets as a community, everybody. And so I feel more confident wading into deeper waters right now.
I always know I have a winner for a website when I'm Googling things and I just can't find the information. Bike racks is what I was just searching over the last few weeks, and I had a hard time finding the info. They're about, you know, $1,000 for an expensive one that'll hold an e-bike and has 4 slots. That's a great price. People commonly buy them off Amazon. I think if you spent $7,000 or $8,000 and you bought a bunch of them to provide real reviews, it would kick butt.
Yeah, I think along the same lines as the bidets, I think it comes down to you got to have the best product testing. You're going to find reviews of some of these kinds of bike racks, and really just those review articles are just not that good. They're like slightly better than just going to the Amazon product listing and reading what everybody has to say. But when you can compare products side by side, show pictures of them, whether you want to do YouTube or not, at least take some short video clips that you can embed in your blog posts, I think that creates content that is way beyond what you're going to get just looking at reviews online.
Yeah, you know, we've been saying that you should really focus on blog or YouTube because you have to learn 2 different sets of skills, and you should really focus on one until it's starting to succeed, and then you can go ahead and add the other platform. This is one that I would love to see happen at the same time. And the reason is that you wouldn't have to be very good on camera to be able to do this. A product review is an easy way for people to wade into YouTube because you have something that is tangible to show and talk about. It's just easier.
Yeah.
And so I would love to see somebody spend, you know, that $7,000, $8,000. You get a few of the really expensive ones and a bunch of the ones that are $150 at Costco. You build all of them. You clock how long it takes to build each one. You see the price and how much weight they'll hold until they crack or whatever. Do some standardized testing across them. Then you do those YouTube videos that are just quick partial videos. They should definitely not be even produced, just one take videos. Point to all the blog posts. And we're creating the content around the just straight review, you know. What kind of bike rack do you need for an e-bike? What bike racks work for a fat tire bike?
Yeah.
Just those surrounding things as well. And I think you could just clean up.
All right, my next one is freelance entrepreneurship. Take the skills that people are using as freelancers and building a business out of that. I think this has a lot of potential for a community, a membership where people participate and help one another. I think you could teach all sorts of principles of skills of running a small business, how to find clients, how to use social media for marketing, so much stuff you could cover, but geared toward freelancers that are building up their own business and trying to build a client base. I think that's a good niche within business and entrepreneurship, which in and of itself is a little bit crowded.
Yeah, I think it could be a really good space to write about, and there are definitely, millions of people interested in this space, but it's also one of the most competitive topics on Google is work from home opportunities. It's just really, really mega. Years ago, we used to rank for I think we ranked number one for best work from home opportunities for moms or something like that.
Yeah.
And we got a huge amount of traffic from it. So it is massive, but Google's also very careful in who it's sending this traffic to. My strategy, if I had to break in here, would probably be very, very different. I might start a Facebook group and gather a community of people wanting to do this, stay-at-home parents, things like that. Get them and then writing resources for those people to really build that EAT as I build the site and sending a flood of traffic over every time. It'd be unique to anything normal for how we'd build a site, but I think it could work.
I think that's a creative way to approach this because once again, I've picked a niche that's really competitive. You notice one of the things I said for monetizing it was a membership with a community because I think there's a ton of value in that community. But starting with the community as a free place for people to get together,
maybe a podcast could also work, really building building community from day one. It'd be a different approach than anything we normally do.
Yeah, it'd be a fun one and a challenge. Maybe that's what I'm up for.
So I've been working remotely and I've been surprised that I haven't found better information about team collaboration software, webcam reviews, and how to set up a good room for a webcast to work with your team over Zoom. There's been a lot of information that's extremely needed and popular that's been hard to find. Plus setting up your home office and soundproofing, that kind of stuff, could work really well on a site like that.
I think that's such a good idea. Maybe we should just roll mine.
Your other idea?
Yeah. Home office / remote work.
Okay, so it sounds like we were kind of on the same wavelength there.
It's funny that this happened last year too. We totally randomly select different niches and we each picked one that was exactly the same.
Well, this one just surprised me so much as we've been looking at this so much as a company. I keep Googling things that are just this kind of joker blog post from some random company. And it's nobody has really put thought into this in the blogging world. Maybe it's because all of us in the blogging world are all thinking us in our home office and we're not thinking about businesses,
I think that's the big difference though, because we just talked about freelance businesses, people as freelancers working from home and trying to build their business and how difficult and competitive that would probably be. But the space of I want to work from home, but I'm working for a company, it's just been ignored.
Yeah, we've been looking at team collaboration software like Microsoft Teams. And I spent days pouring through blog posts and everybody was recommending the big ones with the big affiliate commissions, but nobody mentioned Microsoft Teams because there's no affiliate program for it, right? And so I felt like the real authentic review of the software was missing. There are a lot of websites that will just show you pros and cons of these, and they're all their favorite that you should pick. But it wasn't just like a thoughtful small business owner who's just going to walk you through the choice. And I feel like the small business aspect is the big one. The big companies, they're going to get pitched by a bunch of different companies and they're going to have board meetings and decide this.
Right.
But tons of small businesses are deciding this too, and the resources weren't very good.
Dadding. I think a site for dads would be awesome. Now, there are several authority sites for dads, but it's probably the most common thing that I Google is epic adventures for father and sons. I just am very focused on that part of my life and taking advantage of time with my kids. And I'm surprised how lame the ideas are when I Google that. And so I've got to think there are other people like me who are looking for more resources.
One of the things that stands out to me here is this idea is not based upon some in-depth analysis and some tool that said that there's so much search volume. It's based upon real intuition. And oftentimes we find that those are very underserved markets. It's hard to know. Our dads really like reading blogs, trying to find epic adventures. The answer is yes, by the way, because I'm a dad too, and I'm always looking for cool ideas to do. And I think the things to do tips are some of the worst on the internet.
Oh, how many times can you suggest to go play catch with my son? Oh, thank you. I've never thought of that. You mean get a ball and we just like throw it to each other?
It's like the
cool.
most
Thanks for the
obvious-
blog post.
Yeah, the most obvious ideas ever are like the only things anybody can think of. Let's provide an awesome resource where somebody can walk away from this saying, cool, I got the next 3 years of weekends planned with my kids because this website had some awesome stuff for me and it showed me everything I needed. Now, I want you to comment below. I want you to tell us which of these ideas you think that we should make, but also why you think that's a good idea. Like, I don't want you to just pick the hardest one just because you want to make us sweat. We're going to do it and we're going to make it happen. We'll probably eventually build all of these. But I would love to know, like, what is it about one of these that you just think that makes it a winner?
You guys, you have something to add to the world. How long are you gonna watch our YouTube videos and always be on the sidelines thinking someday you're gonna do this passive income-y thing? Today's the day, let's get started. On May 3rd, we're launching our brand new blogging course. And so it's a really good time to jump in now, pick your niche, and be ready to go when that new version launches.